because it's going. 4, 3, 2, 1. Ring, ring. What?
Hello?
Marcus?
What?
Marcus? The Marcus Eiland official?
I forgot my
Oh
phone.
my gosh. This is my new phone I just got. It's iPhone -20,
Wow.
brick phone.
Uh-oh.
It is
Uh-oh.
the special edition too, by the way.
You just froze up like crazy on me, so...
Yeah, you froze up too.
Oh,
I don't know what's
okay.
happening.
I forgot to pay the bill. It's okay.
We'll fix that in post.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just edit that out.
Really, that's what I've wondered, like how much I'm going to end up editing these by the time I start releasing them in June, or just leave
Yeah.
them au natural,
Yeah. Mm.
kind of
I mean,
unkempt and unshaven,
yeah. Well, if I
hmm
pooped, please edit that out.
Never, never. I will put the volume up on that moment. I wonder if that's happened. It's had to have happened. I mean, with the millions of podcasts that have been filmed, there surely has been some
Oh,
ripping that's
I
gone
mean,
down. But
it
that's
just
neither here
did.
nor there.
We have noise canceling on this,
Okay.
so it just noise
You
cancels.
know, I trust you
Yeah.
to be on the podcast, and then this
Okay.
is where it goes immediately to flatulence. Marcus
No.
Eiland coming at us in
Yes.
full Technicolor Dolby stereo from where? Where are we coming from?
I am right now in Pullman, Washington. Yeah.
Pullman, Washington. See, that's the thing I love is that when it's someone not in North Carolina.
Yeah. I don't have
Heck
one of
yeah.
those accents, So,
No, I don't. Do
no.
you hear an accent in my voice?
Yeah. British,
You
but
do.
yeah.
Shut up. I've been
Yeah.
binging Harry Potter movies, apparently.
Mm, that happens.
If Voldemort's raising an army, then I want to fight. Was that
Mm,
decent?
that's
Or
pretty
not
good.
really?
I was looking at Mr.
Um,
T when you said that over your shoulder. I was thinking, is Mr. T
for those of
British?
you that are only on audio,
Oh, yeah.
there are many fun things behind me in the scene. My backdrop is a little
Yeah.
assortment of vintage goodies. I hate that word actually when referring to vintage toys. So I'll never say that again. I promise you.
Yeah.
Vintage
Okay.
fun
Thank you.
items. That's better. But Marcus, you've been in Washington State. You've been in Washington State for how long now? Like 5, 6 years?
No, 5 years and 2 months. Almost exactly. 5 years, 2 months.
Okay, so I was way off. I said
It's
5 or 6 years, and you
it
said
was
no.
no. Yeah. 5 years and 2 months. Yeah. Give or take. Yeah.
Yes, after spending your
Yeah.
entire life in the dirty jers.
That's right.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So they
Uh-huh.
let me out and I went as far away as possible. So, no, I am in Pullman, Washington. I'm on the border of Moscow, Idaho. So I live among the college students. There's about 35,000 college students around here in two universities, at University of Idaho and
Mm,
Washington State University. Go Cougs.
yeah. Go,
Yeah,
Cougs.
go Cougs. Yeah,
Go, go, go,
yeah.
go. The
We're
school I
very,
spoke at today, their
mm,
mascot was the Cougars. Carson High School.
oh,
Cougars.
nice.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah. There were
mean,
little paw prints all over the place.
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
an actual Coug. As you know, I'm a Scarlet Knight. That's that's where we met.
Ah, yes, it
Um,
is.
but you know what? It's easy. The whole town revolves around the Cougs. So we
Mm-hmm.
and they pay for our things because my wife works there. So um, yeah, we love them.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's awesome. They buy you
yeah,
underwear, socks,
yep, yep, yep. And then I give it back to them.
popsicles.
Actually, so my son Luke is a student there. So, it's like we give, we
Oh,
take. You know,
yeah,
we gave them Luke, and
yeah, that's
they
true.
gave us money. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Nice.
Go
Nice.
Cougs.
Ah, and you are finna leave Washington State shortly and move to
Yeah,
California,
yeah. We're going back to Cali.
and that's a whole nother to
Yeah,
Cali, to Cali.
we're going
Yeah, I
back to
don't think
Cali.
so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, LL Cool
Uh,
J, right?
that's right. Yeah.
And then the
So
Beastie Boys
to
did going back
California.
to Brooklyn.
Mm,
Yeah,
really?
but that's for
Yeah.
another podcast, Marcus. Once you get
Okay.
there, then
Okay.
we like once you have dinner with Gavin Newsom, then we'll debrief.
I'll do that one from
We'll
outside.
debrief.
I'll do that. We'll be.
Okay.
I'll do that from under a palm tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus, we should let's go back because everyone I've interviewed so far, we've talked about how long we've been knowing each other, and you actually are not the winner as far as the longevity goes. You're second
Mm,
place because my friend from high school,
yeah.
which was the first episode I recorded, he takes
Yeah.
the cake because that goes all the way
You.
back to
Yeah.
11th grade. But
You would
you're
not have
you're
been
a
my
close second.
friend in high school. You would not have been my friend.
Shut up.
You would
Why?
have been because, uh,
You were
well,
too bougie?
I think I was trying too hard. I was just trying
Weren't
too
we
hard.
all in
Yeah.
high school?
Uh,
Mm.
yeah, but I've seen photos of you in high school, and you tried. You made it work. And I just tried hard, and it was yeah, it was a
Uh,
mess in high school. So it was a mess in college,
yeah,
but who cares?
yeah,
Yeah, we all
yeah.
were.
But that's where we met.
Yeah.
Sophomore year at the Rutgers,
Yep.
prestigious. Do you know when I was in high school in Virginia and I was graduating and I told people that I was going to Rutgers, their jaw dropped and they're like, "Isn't that like an Ivy League school?"
hmm
It's
Same
crazy the
thing. Yeah.
reputation that's
Yeah.
so
Same thing
different when you're not in
around Wash.
Jersey.
Yeah. In Washington State, I'm just like, yeah, I went to Rutgers. Wow. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay, big deal.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah. The State University of New Jersey.
Exactly. Are you? Are you? Do you know that I never went to a football game at Rutgers? Did you ever go to one?
Yeah, I did, but at the time the stadium was like under construction, so they were playing at Giant Stadium, and I got tickets.
Ah,
I met my dad there, and I
yeah,
remember seeing Ray Lucas play. But it
yeah,
was definitely weird because I had to get on a bus to go to a game in my
yeah,
own university. So
yeah.
yeah,
Super weird. You know, Run DMC came and played at Rutgers one time, and I missed it. I never went. Did you go
really.
to that concert?
Oh, you know what? Yeah,
But
they
do you know
played
what?
at on Livingston campus, didn't they? Yeah, it was
It
like
was
right
either
over.
Livingston or College Ave. Yeah.
Oh, I know Dr. Dre
Well,
also came, and I didn't go to that. I was too scared. I was scared of people who didn't look like me when I was in college, which was not a good thing for Rutgers because I mean it's a
the diverse
very diverse place.
community.
Yeah.
You know who I did go
So
see at Rutgers
who?
was like on campus, and I think it was on the Livingston campus. For those of you who don't know, Rutgers University is made up of 7 smaller colleges. Uh, so on the Livingston campus, Rage Against the Machine.
Oh,
It
that's
was one of the scariest concerts I've ever gone to. There were, I think I started counting the number of mosh pits, and they were
oh,
just, it was a swirling, chaotic scene of humanity
Wow.
just in a blender.
Hmm.
And I was on the side. I don't think I ever had the confidence to go in. And then I go in a mosh pit uh, in February of 2020, right before COVID, and blew my
Ooh.
ACL. So
Oh,
there you go.
I've only been in a mosh pit at a DC Talk concert. I don't know if that counts.
Does not
Yeah, no, no. But I also went and saw MXPX at
Oh,
Rutgers. Yeah,
yeah.
and I believe you were like the sponsor of that show on
Me and the hippie
campus.
put that on. Me and Mark,
The hippie,
we put that concert on.
the damn hippie.
Was it because he didn't wear shoes? Is that what you called him that?
No, it was that we took that class together, and the professor he came in late one time, and the professor was just getting on his case about it. Like, yeah, you spending too much time hugging trees out there. I was like, whoa, he must know. Do you remember that class? I don't know what
Uh-uh.
class it was. That was
It
during
wasn't the one with
my season of college where I was taking only classes with my friends because I didn't want to have to buy
exactly.
the book. Yeah,
Oh, at least you're honest about it.
no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grade point average is honest about it too. So,
I graduated college with a 2.57. That's all I know.
and I graduated with less than that.
Yes. On that note, we need to switch
Yeah.
gears and start talking about some important things and not horrible grade point averages
Mhm.
and concerts at our alma mater. But we talked a little bit before the show about the moment that you wanted to address, which I was interestingly, intimately connected with um,
Yeah,
during a moment of that moment, at least. But
yeah,
let's talk about the 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 season of your life, just like few months, if as far as leading up to that, what was going on that made this moment even more difficult for you to process and go through?
yeah. So we're going to start at a plateau, and then we're going to go deep dive into the valley, and then
Okay,
we're going to come back out of it. Okay. So this is the
I'm
it's going to
ready.
go that way. So I graduated from Fuller Theological Seminary
Hmm.
in uh, March. No, May. It would have been May
Hmm.
of
Okay.
2017,
Okay.
and walked in the graduate. I We went to Rutgers, but I didn't walk in my graduation because I was kind of ashamed of how I went to college and didn't think I deserved it. Um, so so I said I said if I ever go to grad school, I'm going to walk in that. In that.
Hmm.
And so I did. I went to flew to Pasadena and graduated and walked in the ceremony. Took surfing lessons while I was there, and
Yes.
uh, and walked. And it was a very proud moment. I actually graduated at the same time as Jeff Foxworthy's daughter, and Lori, my wife, was hanging out with Jeff Foxworthy while I was walking across the stage, which is,
As you do, as you do.
yeah, she
Yeah.
was, I'm sure, laughing a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so the very next day, I get home from New Jersey, from graduating, and get home in New Jersey, and I have my annual review with my supervisor, and he says, "I think it's time for you to leave Young Life."
Hmm.
And so I'd been an area director in my area for, at that point, about 10 years on the nose.
Hmm.
And um, and I was basically like, if you've ever done ministry, you know this. It takes a while to figure out what you're doing. It takes a while to learn.
Hmm.
Um, and
The
I felt
culture,
like, yeah,
yeah, there's so much to
so
learn.
many things. Kids and and then working with parents and in a particular community,
Mm-hmm.
and just how getting over your own stuff and your own, fears and all that good stuff. And I felt like I was just kind of catching my stride. And so this was just like the really devastating news. And my
Mm-hmm.
supervisors, he basically just said, I just feel like it shouldn't be this hard. And it was pretty, it was just weird, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so I just was like, I disagree. And I went, home and wrestled with it uh, and argued with him over the course of the next several weeks. And
Mm-hmm.
it was now mid-June, and I said, hey, I just don't think I need to leave. I think that things are difficult, but it's okay. I'm willing to do the difficult things, and I see us,
Mm-hmm.
steadily growing from this place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He said, nope, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was I was devastated. Uh, it was complicated because my job also, uh, there was a weird connection between my job and my house in New Jersey. We couldn't afford a house, and so if I were to leave my job, I had to leave the house or
Mm-hmm.
that I couldn't afford because I also don't have a job anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was just a mess. And I asked my kids what they thought, and my wife, and we all decided that we still wanted to do young life ministry at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so it started a nationwide search for a new job. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then the moment happened, and
Mm-hmm.
I was watching football with my younger brother, Adam, and my brother-in-law, Tony,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, Adam. It was like the first set of games had just ended. He's like, I'm going to go home, and he leaves, and Tony and I are just hanging out there, and Adam calls me and says, "Hey, I just got a phone call from a hospital in North Carolina, and they said that Scotty has coded. Do you know what that means?" And I was like, "Yeah. What do you mean that? What What do you mean he coded? Like, I mean, coded means his heart stopped, and they had to." He says, "Yeah. Can you call them or?" I was like, "Sure." So he started heading back to the house and
Mm-hmm.
called the hospital. And yeah, it's a long story. Scott's my older brother, and
Mm-hmm.
he was he had an overeating uh, addiction, and
Mm-hmm.
that sounds, I know, a little bit weird. We don't often talk about overeating addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's the most, I would say, the most common and most accepted addiction in
Mm-hmm.
American society
Mm-hmm.
because nobody wants to really address it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where it's not like you can just go cold turkey on food, like you have to eat
Mm-hmm.
to survive. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, he ended up in the hospital and was getting treatment, and he had to have oxygen in his nose, and he
Mm-hmm.
fell asleep after. We're not sure if it was before or after he fell asleep, but he had taken the oxygen out of his nose, and
Mm.
uh, they say probably sleep apnea, and oxygen was cut off, and his heart stopped. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and and
And
and
how old was he when this happened?
40. He was just he was 40, almost 44. He was 43 years old.
Okay.
Is that right? Yeah,
And
he
living
was
in
almost
like
44.
Greensboro or something, right?
Yeah, he was living in
Yeah.
Greensboro. Um, so I called the hospital and they said, yeah, he coded, but we did CPR for 30 minutes and we got his heart going again.
Mm.
And I laugh about it now. At the time, it was like, oh, there's hope. Wow. So his heart's going again. And okay, well, what's next? And, the nurse on the phone said, I'm going to have a doctor call you, next time he stops by.
Okay.
And so by that time, Adam had gotten back to the house, and Tony was there, and we were just like, wow, this is serious, but we're glad they got his heart going again. And the doctor got on the phone and he says, I don't want to beat around the bush. Your brother is very, very sick, and I don't think he's going to make it.
Hmm.
So that was just like, what? Like it was going from back and forth. Um,
Were you
so
the primary liaison at this point instead of your dad?
no, I think when Scott was admitted to the hospital, he put down Adam as his, the
Emergency
emergency contact.
contact?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and,
Gotcha.
yeah. Um, so that's why Adam was called, and then Adam did this with me. So then I flew down there, and you picked me up at the airport, and we uh, we went to the hospital to sit with Scott. And
Was that the next day that you came?
yeah, I got on the very next flight I could, um,
Yeah.
and Adam drove down
Hmm.
from Jersey. So,
Hmm.
and that was hard because I got there and it was just a confirmation of what the doctor told us on the phone, but Adam somehow, for some reason, still had hope
Uh,
that Scotty was going to make some sort of comeback. And
hmm.
so when we got there, it was, I mean, the doctor was just like, yeah, if he survives, he'll be a vegetable for the rest of his life. And I was just like,
Uh,
well,
yeah.
that's not good. Um,
Yeah.
so that was really the bottom. Of course, Adam arrived, and then the doctor softened his tone with Adam for some reason and gave Adam a little bit more hope, as if
Hmm.
he was gonna bounce back again. And it was
Hmm.
just a mess because I was like, no, this is not gonna turn around. I mean, he had
Hmm.
kidney failure. He had, it was like it was a machine keeping him alive, keeping him breathing, and that was it. There was no
I
brain
remember
activity.
standing there and I
So,
was like, I think I was standing there and like rubbing his arm or something, like just rubbing Scotty's arm. I can remember something tactile like that.
mhm.
But ooh, it was it was very heavy, and
Yeah,
Adam trying to hold it together, and then you trying to hold it together, and then me trying to be strong for you guys, and Scotty just laying there and
yeah,
just out of reach, you know. It's Scotty sitting there, you know. It's like, hey,
yeah,
Scotty, let's talk about baseball cards. Let's talk, you know. But he's just out of reach. That was the weirdest part.
yeah, and we don't know. We don't know. We kept talking about this kind of stuff while we were sitting there doing nothing,
Hmm.
waiting, listening to this machine breathe for my
Hmm.
brother, and it was just like, I feel like he's already gone, and we're like, you know,
Hmm.
it seems like this is just. Uh, Kind of annoying. I guess, we get to come and say goodbye and stuff, but I feel like,
Like
on the other
prolonging the
side,
inevitable.
yeah, I mean, it was like, like, is he just hovering over this, hey guys, I want to go, on
Uh-huh.
to greener pastures. Can you just pull the plug here? And,
Right.
um, so that was rough, man, and of course, I can't really go there emotionally because it was the worst. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then calling my dad, and uh, it was just. was awful. We did a full another day, so you had to go home, and then
Mm-hmm.
Adam and I got up the next morning, and we spent a whole nother day just sitting there, and having the doctor come in, and with like, oh, I'll be right back, and 4 hours later he comes back, and
Oh,
um, it was
oh.
just brutal, and there was no change, and so we
Mm-hmm.
we gave my dad the option of coming, and my dad said that he wanted to remember his last good visit with Scott and didn't want to, you know.
That's
Um,
really interesting to hear. That is, I do not argue with that at all.
yeah, it's like I was like, can we switch spots? What do you?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it was just awful, uh, and I think that's how addiction works. We read a book while we were wrestling through this with Scott, and it was called uh, "It's Not Okay to Be a Cannibal." And the book
Mm,
is all about how you address someone who's struggling with an addiction. And
mm-hmm.
the book explains that there's really two people at play. There's the person that you know from before the addiction, Scotty, that
Mm-hmm.
we all know and love. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's the person who is trying to kill that person, and that's the
Ah,
addict.
yeah.
And that's literally how, take any addiction, and that's what you have. You have two people in the same room, in the same body, and one's trying to kill the other.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a sobering thought.
yeah.
So
So, yeah,
I'm fascinated by this other thing you mentioned earlier before we started, the the post like class or something you went to. What was that?
yeah.
I don't even remember you talking about that. Maybe you did.
So, so yeah, we moved to Pullman, Washington. The funny thing is that I got a phone call from the Pullman Young Life group to interview me while I was in the hotel room, in the hospital room with Scott.
Oh
They
my
called
gosh.
and said, "Hey, we'd love to have you out," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, well,
Yeah.
that
Thank you,
sounds great.
Captain.
Yeah,
Mm,
I'm I'll let's set that date, but give me a week to get back to you, but anyway, we interviewed, and at the time it was, everything we wanted our next spot to be. If it wasn't going to be where we were, which it couldn't be in New Jersey, we
mm-hmm.
wanted to go to a place that had a college community, which we have two here. We wanted to have foundation. So when we moved here, we were almost at 50 years of Young Life in this area. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was really rich. Um, there was already a college director here, and a few
Mm-hmm.
part-time staff. So it was really it felt like a step up, not to mention just the
Mm-hmm.
beauty of the Palouse. We're surrounded
Mm-hmm.
by just rolling hills of wheat, and we're super close to mountains and
Mm-hmm.
Canada. And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
we were really excited to move out here. But at the same time, I was still wrestling with the hurt um, that came with being told I had to move, and then having to tell my kids, yeah, you guys have to move too, and leave all your friends. And
Mm-hmm.
at the time, Violet was in seventh grade and Luke was in 10th grade. And so
Mm-hmm.
we moved in February. And shortly after I got here, I got an email, and it was from Donna Hadasaki, who is a legend in Young Life. And she had developed this program. It was a class that was only eligible for uh, Young Life staff who had been on staff for 10 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called The Good Way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes from a Bible verse in, I want to say, Isaiah. Let's go with
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah. So,
Mm-hmm.
the Bible verse says something like, I came to a crossroad and I was looking for the good way. And the Lord
Mm-hmm.
said, this is the good way. Walk in it. And
Mm-hmm.
um, and so the class was all about discovering who you are, um, who Christ is, and how to learn and live into that reality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so one of the fun things is that we were not allowed to at the class. There's like 30 people, maybe 40 in the class,
Mm-hmm.
and all
Mm-hmm.
Young Life staff. But we were not allowed to talk about our roles in Young Life, like no area directors or regional directors, no vice presidents. It
Mm-hmm.
was just, you were just you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we also had a fast from our technology. So,
That's
um,
I do remember that
yeah.
piece of this. Okay.
So for 3 days, no,
Uh-huh.
nothing.
No
And so
email. No. Yeah. Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
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 So the class was just awesome. It was three separate um, retreats, and it was in Santa Cruz, California,
Mm-hmm.
um, at a Catholic retreat center. And uh, and the first one was all about. It was broke up into three different sections. The first was about discovering um, just the voice of the Lord, um,
Mm-hmm.
and then discovering who I am as His follower, and then
Mm-hmm.
the last one was putting that together and where I belong. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and okay, so the most significant thing though that happened was uh, on the second day of our 3 day retreat, we were given 4 hours of silence and solitude, and this was
Mm-hmm.
like hyper silence and solitude. There was like a bunch of us around, and it was on the beach, so you could go out on the beach, but the instructions were you're not allowed to talk, and if you
Mm-hmm.
come across somebody, do not make eye contact. That's how serious this silence and solitude was.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even make eye contact. Just look to the ground and keep
Mm-hmm.
walking, so that you can just
Mm-hmm.
keep that spirit. And I was terrified of 4 hours of silence and
Mm-hmm.
solitude with no
Mm-hmm.
email, no nothing. I honestly was
Mm-hmm.
like, how am I going to do this? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my 40s. You would think like that wouldn't be, but I was absolutely terrified. Um,
Yeah.
and so they had spiritual directors on site that you could sign up for spiritual direction during your 4 hours. And so I'm like, yes, after 2 hours, I'm going to have spiritual direction. So that'll break it up. So now I just have to get through 2 hours of silence and
Uh-huh.
solitude,
Uh-huh.
because you can't have spiritual direction without talking. Um,
Uh-huh.
so I was yeah, I'm
You're
pretty
trying to
smart,
outsmart it.
yeah. so
Uh-huh.
uh, so I go to my spiritual. Okay, so they also gave us a guide, and this was like, usually, when I get instructions, I can figure it out. But this was like, oh, I need the guide. Give me the guide.
Uh-huh.
And so
Uh-huh.
our 4 hours, my 2 hours started, and I go to my room with my guide, and I'm like, open it up, first page, and the first page says, get into a comfortable place and imagine that you are meeting with God,
Uh-huh.
and you you see the Father's face, and He's smiling at you, and and the Son um, is coming towards you with a basin and a towel to wash your feet, and the Spirit
Mm-hmm.
is over there preparing a banquet table. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. So
Uh-huh.
okay, and this is where things are going to get a little weird, and I'm gonna. It was weird. because I closed my
Okay.
eyes and I literally saw this like happening. And I'm not
Uh-huh.
a ooh, weird
Right.
kind of dude,
Right.
but I saw, like, in my mind's eye, I saw this before me. I saw the Father coming towards me, smiling, and the Spirit
Mm-hmm.
preparing the table, and I looked down at my feet, and they are caked in mud, and I'm like, oh, this is great because I need to have my feet washed, and that's what Jesus does. Um, but then I look at my hands, and they
Mm-hmm.
are dripping with blood, like covered
Mm.
in blood.
Mm.
And I just start weeping. And I'm just like, Lord, wash my hands, wash my feet. Like, and I don't know what came over me. I was just weeping.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And I was just like, what the heck was that all about? You know? And as soon as I started asking those questions, like, what was that all about? Vision I had. And I remembered this moment. We're just talking about all kinds of moments in my life. I remember this
Uh-huh.
moment, and it was when I was a kid, like a little kid, like 4, 5 years old. Um, and my dad said to me, hey, you're going to have to take care of your older brother when you get older. Like Scotty, you knew Scotty. He was different. He
Yeah.
was messy. He was clumsy. He always wore glasses. He
Jovial.
never, but joyful and I mean,
Uh-huh.
loved everyone without judgment ever. Just one of the best guys. But he always he always making a mess. He was always breaking things.
Yeah.
He was always, breaking his own glasses, or, tripping
Yeah.
and falling, and so that was
Yeah.
like my dad. He said, you're gonna have to take care of your brother when you grow up.
Hmm.
And that's what came to mind when I was asking, like, what was that vision all about? And so
Mm-hmm.
I went for a walk on the beach and was just like, what the heck? Just kind of
Yeah.
confused and wondering how to put it all together. I go to the spiritual direction, and we met in this little garden in the back of this retreat center, and I started telling, well, I kind of told my spiritual director this whole story that I've told you so far, like,
Mm-hmm.
from losing my job to Scotty dying,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then this crazy vision I just had. And then I told him about, what my dad said to me when we were little, and he
Mm-hmm.
said, bro, I think you think you're somehow responsible for your brother's death. And I was like, I mean, I wept. And he just spoke
Oh.
truth. He just said, listen, that was not your, you were not responsible for your brother. That was not fair for your dad to say, you were not responsible for your brother. He had to make his own choices. And I literally wept for,
Yeah.
I don't know, half an hour. I was there.
Uh-huh.
I was there. We were unraveling all of that stuff for
Yeah.
the next 2 hours. I didn't have any more food for solitude. It was spiritual
Yeah.
direction, just me, for 2 hours
And
weeping.
just super cathartic. Just your heart
Dude,
on display,
I can't tell you.
getting
I've,
scrubbed of so much
yeah, I've never felt,
unnecessary.
I never felt so light as I did after that spiritual direction session. I
Wow.
walked away. I I could have floated away. I had been carrying this burden. I didn't even
Yeah.
know I was carrying it. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
consciously think, oh man, I messed up there, or that I,
Right.
should have, but I was carrying it and I had no idea.
Wow.
I had no idea. So,
Holy moly.
um, so yeah, to talk about, the, I, I can't say enough about that class and what it did for me. And that was only one. I had two more classes that were,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not as profoundly incredible, but it's still very impactful. And,
Mm-hmm.
but that first one, just being released from that burden of, uh, and, and, and really experiencing God's love in
Mm-hmm.
an incredibly powerful way through
Mm-hmm.
that time. That was, absolutely incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah. That's profound is an understatement for all that.
Yeah.
And that was in maybe 2018 when you went and
Yeah.
did that, like maybe a year or
Yeah. It
two
was
after Scotty.
literally, yeah, it was October of 2018.
Okay.
So literally,
Yeah.
just over a year after Scott passed away.
It makes you wonder what the average person is walking around with that
Mm,
that they shouldn't be. That's
yeah.
been that's been imputed on them by someone else, that irresponsibly imputed on them, that is, I mean, it's really like a shackle, or some kind of tether holding you
Yeah.
to the ground where you cannot experience the full life that you were born to experience. You can't ever be the best version of yourself, and then that leaks into all your other relationships when everybody needs everybody to be the best everybody. And when
Yeah.
we're so misshapen and bogged down by unnecessary junk that's
Yeah.
that's placed on us, it's such a disservice to the community you're a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
just because, I was carrying the burden, but
Mm-hmm.
it definitely impacted all of my relationships. Um,
Yeah.
and I had no idea. And that's what's crazy about it, is
Mm-hmm.
how little I was even aware that I was carrying that around. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it just makes me you wonder, is there anything else that I'm carrying around that I
Right.
shouldn't be?
Oh God. There's stuff that yeah, I'm sure everybody has things that they clearly know that they're carrying, that they need to work through
Right,
or release or come to terms with
right.
or heal from. And then there's probably things that people deny. They're like, I'm not dealing with that. That is actually really occurring to them, but they deny it. And then there's the things that people are just oblivious to.
Hmm.
Exhibit
Yeah,
A.
yeah, yeah,
Woo. And everybody's got some things they're probably oblivious to.
mm.
Yeah,
You don't know what you don't know, you know?
that's true. Sounds like a Yogi Berra phrase. I'll believe it
Yeah.
when I believe it.
Hmm.
I don't know any other Yogi Berras, but I know that there's probably several. God. Speaking of baseball, maybe we land the plane with uh how's your Stros doing? Not too hot, huh?
Well, yeah, they've been struggling. Losing Altuve before the season started. Um, that's a tough
I
one
didn't
as
realize.
well. And then Verlander, as well. There's going to be some
Mm-hmm.
downtime, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Well,
there's
ESPN had Stros #1 preseason rank, and the Padres second, and the Braves third. And so Padres were struggling too. And now the Padres have turned up the heat a little bit, but yeah,
it's early.
It's so interesting.
So,
it's early.
I've got a little show and tell here. This was a gift from Luke, a little throw pillow for
your little Astros throw pillow.
Extra room. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to see the Marcus play the Mariners at the beginning of May. If anybody wants to join us over there. Safeco? Is that what it's called? No, it's T-Mobile Park now. T-Mobile.
Yeah. Good for them. Good for them.
Very exciting.
You know what I always appreciate is when any kind of sports arena or stadium just has a normal name, like Three Rivers Stadium. I always appreciate
None of them have normal names anymore. They're always,
I know, it's such a bummer.
Except for Fenway, Wrigley Field, I think.
Fenway. What about Yankee Stadium? Is
Yankee
it still
Stadium?
called?
Yeah, it is, but it's we know it's not the original, so it's trash.
Yeah.
So,
it is trash. You know, that was the last Major League Baseball game I ever went to. Was with you at Yankee Stadium.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Is that the one we went to with Johnny D?
Yeah, Johnny D.
Yeah.
Double header.
Really?
We were there a long time.
We got,
and as a vegetarian, I wasn't eating hot dogs. I guess I ate a lot of popcorn and pretzels for 7 straight hours.
Wow.
Good times,
I'm gonna have an itchy roll at the Mariners game.
Oh.
Yeah.
It sounds good. Report back. Let me know how it is.
Itchy roll. Yeah. They're all right. It's sushi. It's sushi at a baseball game. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't like sushi. Not at a baseball game, or at a baseball game.
More sushi.
Well, listen, we gotta land the plane, but we'll circle back and do another one of these at some point once you settle into the California, the sunny,
going back to
sunny
school,
California.
Everybody. Yeah.
Yes.
Back to Fuller.
Back to school, like Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
You can learn to do the
Adam
triple
Sandler.
Lindy. Was he in that?
No, he was in Billy Madison.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yes, but Rodney Dangerfield was in a movie,
right,
with that actual title. So
right. Yeah.
Thus, my reference.
Adam Sandler actually wrote a song about it, going back to school. So it's okay. Yeah,
I'll check it out.
Each other. I'm a little bit more hip than you. Rodney Dangerfield is like old school. Adam Sandler's Billy Madison is one of these, new hip movies that came out recently.
And of course, Will Ferrell in old school.
Oh yeah,
you're my boy, Blue. Yeah. You're my boy, Blue.
He didn't go back to school though.
He did do some streaking though.
He went streaking.
Oh my gosh. All right, Marcus, it's been great. Really, really great. I appreciate you sharing your heart and your story with the world, and look forward to doing this again. And I'll probably text you later.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much.
Deuces.
Love you, man. Later.